everybody, hello and welcome to what's really part 2 of our waterfall journal. Yesterday we made the actual the bones of the journal and it turned out great. I'm pleased with mine. Hope yours turned out equally good. You're satisfied with it at any rate. So today is the first day of the fabric collages, and all in all we need 6. Yes, 6. And what I've done is I've taken a piece of, actually this is scrapbook paper, but it's very thin. It really is thin. And actually I think a sort of thicker photocopy paper would probably do you. But this is what I've got. And I've cut it at 8 inches. You remember these are 8 1/4. This is stuck with that glue stick I was using. So it's 8 inches. So if I put it like that, I've got 1/8 of an inch at the top and 1/8 of an inch at the bottom. And I like that. I like that look. So I'm going to bring it over so I've got about 1/8 of an inch there as well. And I'm going to mark this a good 1/8 of an inch in from that spine. So it's not 1/4 of an inch. It's in between 1/4, 1/8 and 1/4. All right, so it's probably something like 3/16, I don't know, whatever, but it's between 1/8 and 1/4. And I'm just going to get my Timmy trimmer out and trim that up. And this is going to be the base for our collage. This is what we're going to be sewing onto. So, is that my line? That's my line. Just check that straight up there. There we go. Right. So this is our base. Let me just check that in case something has happened. No, that's perfect. So you can see the gap that I've left all the way around there. It's 1/8, maybe just slightly more on the width. Okay, right. The lady that's ordered this wants this one to be exactly the same as the other one that I made. So let's see what we've got. We've got this piece that was about there. I'm looking back at my iPad so I can see what I did, because stupidly I didn't take photos of every page. Why would I? That would have been all too simple. And then I had that, or part of that at any rate, down there. Great. At the top I had, this is all this Flea Market Fresh and Flea Market Mix fabric from Cathe Holden for Moda. And oh, it's just gorgeous. But you can use any fabric that you've got. You could use paper for this part if you wanted to. Now then, I want a piece that is going to go the full width and down. Well, I might have to build the whole page first, actually. On the bottom, I've got a blue bird. That one, in fact. Oh, it's in the middle of the piece. Let's have a look and see if I've got one on the edge anywhere. No. It's this one, so I'll cut that one out. Just in the interest of keeping everything absolutely the same. So this is also Cathe Holden for Moda, but it's called Outdoorsy, this range that she did. So I want to get that pretty tidy if I can. I'm just going to cut all the way down there. Then I can fold that up, put it out of harm's way, like that, and get this little blue fellow out. I might need to square it up with my rotary cutter. You know me, guys. I have not got a straight eye in my head. Particularly with scissors for some reason. Really bad with scissors. Right, there we go. So let's have a look and see. Yeah, I mean, look at him. He needs a bit of a straighten up. So let's get my this out and just give him a little tidy up. He's not overly bad, but he's not good enough. So yeah, he's straight now. I can see on the other three sides. So there we are. We've now got a straight birdie. Hooray. I think that's probably the only thing I need to cut. So, right, we've got, oh, that's just fallen on the floor. We've got this that says nosegay, and that goes kind of there. This goes kind of there. Well, it goes to about there. No, let's trim this off. Yeah, trim that flush with the top. It's kind of nice to have a one to go by, to copy. Just makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it? So that goes to about there. So then that goes there, right in that corner. And then we've got a little bit of something else there. I might just move that up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Is it? No, she's going to have to come down because that bird goes there. Right, that's grand. Okay, so I need to cut this to go in this top bit here. Now these are birds on nests, so they are directional. So let's make sure we get it to the right. So I'm going to cut that there, so overlapping that nosegay, and there. And then I'll have a piece big enough, hopefully, to do the thingy. Where's my mark? There. You could do this with your rotary cutter. And it's probably a good idea too, but nobody's ever going to see that because it's going to get... It's hard to tell the right way up of those, not instantly obvious. Right, and the other bit is just a little bit of this, and I suspect it was that bit that I cut out the last time. So I'm gonna go 2 button widths, which is more than enough, up to there, and presume that I had it right the last time. There we are. Right, so we should have all our fabrics here now that we need, hopefully. So this piece goes in the back. So I need to sort of glue that down and then trim round there. So that's going to be my first job. So I'm just using my Cosmic Shimmer glue. You could use art glitter equally. I wouldn't really recommend anything like Fabri-Tac or anything like that because it's thick and gloopy, and this is thin cotton. So, and we are going to be stitching it. If you're not stitching it, yeah, go ahead and use, you know, whatever it is that you would normally use, but I'm stitching it, so I don't really need great efforts to stick. Right, so I want that right across the top, so I'm going to place it sort of upside down, if you like, so I can get it really square along the top there. Okay, like that. So that's on there, and I'm just going to trim off my excess while I'm here. Lovely. And along the top. Just have to sort of support it from underneath because it wants to flop away because it's not glued. Right, that's that. Lovely. Next thing that goes on, I think, is this. Yeah, it definitely is this. and all I have to be careful of is that that bird is going to fit there. For example, if I put it too high like there, I've got this gap here, which I don't want. So bring that down so it's at the right height for this to go over there, like that. That's perfect, actually. That's just great. Right, so I'm going to glue this down and then I'm going to go and sew around it. Well, maybe not around it. We'll have a look in a minute what I need to sew. So just the thinnest of beads of glue, and then we'll take this to the piece and just pop that there so I can see. Yeah, that's fine there. So just get that to the edge, all the way down, like that. Stick it down, perfect. So let's just trim off some of that cream border that was on there that we don't want. Okay, that's fine. Right, so what needs to happen now is ultimately that's going to go there, that's going to go there, and this is going to go there. So what's the order of play? I don't need to stitch down here because this is going to go over it. I don't need to stitch down here because these are going to go over there. So the only bit that I actually need to stitch is this up here, that bit there. That's all that needs to happen before I can progress with my collage. So I'm just going to nip off and stitch that. I'll be 2 ticks. Right, so I've just stitched along there, so let's build this up a little bit more now. The next thing is this element that goes, you're trying to keep different planes, different edges to things. So this is going to go up into there just to create a bit of interest, and it's going to come down pretty much level with that because the bird's going to go there. So it doesn't matter how much under the bird it goes, you might as well make it less rather than more, and then you've got another piece to play with at a later date. So I'm just going to cut that across there. Yeah, we all know it's not going to be straight. Look at that. I mean, I've even got that wonky. So that is going to go there. So let's just fix that with a little bit of glue. So there's quite a bit stoppy and starty here. It's not so bad if you've, like this, I've already got my pieces selected, but it can be quite a long job if you're auditioning pieces as you go. So let's put this level with the edge, up a little bit like that, just for interest. So that's going to go there, and level with the edge all the way down. Doesn't matter about these threads, they'll be taken care of later. Right, so the bird's going to go there, but there's nothing covering these. So this is the bit that I've got to sew now. There and there. Doesn't matter about this bit, but there and there. So off I go to do that. Okay, so I've sewn around there. I'm just going to chop my thread ends off. I tend to, although my machine's locks the stitches at the start and the end, I tend to leave a little bit extra on the back because it's all going to be stuck down, and it's just double security really. It'll keep it in its place. These ones here on the edge, they're going to get zigzagged over, so they'll be fine. Right, so that's that. I put that on with a zigzag. No reason at all why I did that. I just fancied doing it. It's a bit different from the straight stitch along there. Right, so the next thing is the bird. He's going to go there, and then this piece actually, where does it go? Looks like it goes under there, so it's the next one then that wants to. Now these buttons, they do have a right and a wrong way, and if you have a look, it's got a drop shadow, so make sure you've got your drop shadow on the bottom. Well, you don't have to, but it looks better that way. So that's going to go there. Actually, that might be just a bit too much. Let's move that over. How far does this birdie come? Oh, quite a long way. So yeah, about there, I would say. So I just want some glue on this bit. I must say I'm not finding this at all a chore to do this again. I really enjoyed doing the first one. Let's just bring that down a bit to there. I think that's when that's on there. Is that square? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Let's just trim it up. You hear Bobby squeaking his toy. As he's getting older, he plays with his toys less and less. He used to play with them all the time. He still likes them. He you know, likes to have them around. Right, so I'm going to stitch this piece on now, and then the only bit remaining to stitch on is the bird and then all the frou-frou. See you in a sec. Okay, so that's that piece sewn on. And stitch that on with straight stitch. I don't know why, I just do whatever I fancy. So the only piece remaining is the dicky bird. Let's glue him on. We'll stitch around him, and then that's the actual collage piece completed, really. Well, completed, yeah. Not really, it's completed. So that goes down in this bottom corner like that. Get it nice and straight and level. Lovely. So that now needs to be sewn round as well. I'm not sewing the outside edges of any of these pieces, as you can see. That gets sewn round all together at the end. So I just need to sew along there and along there. Having done that, then I can stitch around the whole thing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch along here and along here, then stitch around the whole thing. And I'm going to use a zigzag stitch for the outside edges because it's slightly more durable, really, than the straight stitch. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so there we have our finished stitched around piece. I've zigzagged around the edges, as you can see, and we just need to put the finishing touches to it now. So one of those finishing touches is to put lace down the outside edge. Excuse me. So I'm using this. I got this from Amazon, so it's readily available, and I put the straight edge up to the straight edge of the collage and glue it like that. So excuse me, I'm just going to pause you for a sec. I need to cough. Okay, I don't know what that was about. So what I'm going to do is put my glue onto here. If there's any loose threads around the, just trim them off. They'll be fine and secure with this zigzag on it. So let's put some glue down there over the stitches. And make sure you put quite a bit on it. It really absorbs the glue. So it takes perhaps more than you would think. Oh, there's Mr. F chopping sticks for the fire. Honestly, it's the start of May. I mean, we're nearly a week into May, and we're still having to put the fire on in the daytime. It's quite ridiculous. So then I'm going to put another layer, line of glue there just to catch the ends of that lace. Down here. And that should be fine, I think. Make sure you've got it at both ends, because that's where it can fray, at the ends there. So that should be fine. Let's make sure we've got the right side up. That's that side. And that end is a little bit frayed, so I'm going to just start a little bit in. Down we go. Like that. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. And I'm just going to take my towel, press it down, and at the same time pick up any excess glue that there is. Like that. There we go, that's great. Now I can trim the ends off, flush with the collage, and then it's just onto the decorating bits really. So I need 3 white buttons or clear buttons, and they're going to go down here. Might put that larger one in the centre and then the 2 smaller ones either side like that. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to glue those on, and actually I'm going to glue them on with the Distress Collage medium. It's really good for gluing things like this. It's not instant, so don't expect it to be instant, but it is very effective. When it does grip, it really grips. I am going to be sewing these on, but it's just easier if they're already glued on. They don't move around on you. So I'm putting that fairly central between this piece and this piece on that seam line, like that. Then one above it. That looks fine there. And this little one below it. It's nice if you've got 3 different ones, I think, but you know, not the end of the world. Oh, nearly glued the wrong side. You can use 3 the same. And pop that on there with sort of equal distance really between all 3. I think that's it about there. Okay, so we'll just work around those for a minute until they dry. So what I need now is a little bit of lace to go on there and on the top of the bird. Did I lay any lace out? Possibly not. Let's have a rootle and see what I can find. I've got this piece, but I don't think it's long enough. No, it's just not quite long enough. Let me go and have a rootle. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I found this. It's nice and narrow. It matches this one. Perfect. So let's just cut a piece to go along there. I'm going to cut it to there. I think that'll be just fine. And then I want a piece for along the top of the birdie. This lace came as I think there were 8 different ones in the pack from Amazon, and I wouldn't say they were perfect because I found one yesterday that had a fault in it, so not best impressed. I usually buy all my lace like this from Ali, but I didn't have any and I was in a hurry for some, so bought it from Amazon. Right, let's stick our lace on then. So I'm putting the glue onto the lace this time. You could stitch this on, of course you could. Be probably much more sensible. But I'm gluing it, so I'm just going to put a dot at the bottom of those peaks so it stays, and right down the edges, because like I say, that is where it's prone to fray. So that's that bit. Goes along here. Chop the top off the bird, but never mind. So that's there. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. And then this piece here. Sticky fingers now, yuck. What can you do if you're using glue? You're going to get sticky. I don't like it though, I must be honest. Just down the sides. Stop it fraying. bit on. It's all these little bits, I think, that just elevate the whole collage. I mean, it looks pretty as a collage, but it looks like you've really cared when you put all these bits on. So let's just go over that with the towel. Make sure there's no spludgy glue. Lovely. That's great. Now what I'm going to do is glue. Actually, this Cosmic Shimmer glue is not bad at getting off your fingers. It's the best of all the glues that I use, to be honest. So they are, yeah, they're stuck. Excellent. But what I'm going to do first is just put a cross stitch in these this lace that I've just put on. So I'm going to come out there. So I'm pushing my needle through so I can see the hole in the back. So that's where I'm coming out. And I'm going to go back in. I'm just using the holes as a guide. Back in at the other side of that hole, but above it. I'm sure this is not the way you cross stitch, but it's the only way I know. I'm using embroidery floss, and I'm just using 3 strands out of the 6 that come in the skein. Like that, and then down to there. So I'll show you, that's one stitch there. So then I'm going to ask Mr. F if he would mind just zooming in a little bit, because you can't really see what I'm doing. That's not very good, is it? Just if you could just zoom in a little bit more, maybe even, you know. That's fine, I'll be fine. Thank you, that's grand. Right, so that's 1 stitch and then my thread's on the back. So I need to know where to come up on the front. So I want to come up there at that side of that hole. So pushing my needle through so I can see where to come up. There, and then I'm going on there above the end of the hole. And then I want to come up there. And back to there. I'm sure this isn't right, but it's all I know. So just push your needle through where you want your hole to go. That's all I'm trying to say to you. Unless, of course, you're a really proficient embroideress, in which case you'll know where your needle needs to be. I don't. And it really doesn't take long, and it's quite pleasurable, if I'm honest. I quite like doing it. But as I say, it's just these finishing touches that just add a, I don't know, touch of magic to the whole thing. And I'm just going to get one on this end one, I think. Yeah, the back doesn't look fantastic. So I'm thinking it's not right, but not the most efficient way to cross stitch probably. There we go. Right, so I've stitched into sort of each of those holes and across the bar at the top of the lace. And I'm just going to finish my end off. Similarly, I don't even know how you're supposed to do this. I just run it under some stitches and then just like that. I can't think that's going to come out. It's going to be glued onto the page anyway, so that's that. So that's how I do the cross stitches, and I'll do the same at the bottom. Ah, my buttons come off, my buttons come off. Stick. Right, so I'll sew that button on now, seeing as it wants to come off. So I'm just going to go from the right side through one of the holes to the back side, leaving a tail on the front because we need to tie it. So hold on to your tail and your button, push your needle through where that other hole is there, and then come out there. This is why it's best to stick them on first. You don't get this sort of stupidity, like that. And that's that button sewn on. You're just going to tie it now. Tie it into place. So I knot mine 3 times. I think that's probably excessive. I think twice is probably adequate. But you know, why not? So 3 times, and then I just trim the ends off. I'll leave them long enough to be visible. Like that, that's fine. So there we are. There's the cross stitch. There's my sewn on button, which I'm going to do the same for these. And I'm going to do the same for this cross stitch along here. But now you see me do it, you don't need to see me do it again. Be fine. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so I've done all the cross stitch, I've sewn all the buttons on, it's all looking pretty, and now we just need to stick it onto here. With the other one, I just lightly inked around it. I've just remembered I did that, so let me get, I just used Vintage Photo actually. And I'm just going to go just around this page. I can do the rest off camera. So it was just a light inking, just like this. It just separates the pages quite nicely in the journal. But I didn't want anything too dark. The dark side. There we are. I'll do the rest off camera. You don't need to see me ink that much, I'm sure of. So this is going to go onto there, like that. How pretty is that? Let's get some glue. And for this I'm using collage. Your Fabri-Tac or anything like that will work a charm. Whatever glue you normally use. That's it. And try and get your glue into those zigzags around the edge, because they're the bits that are always resistant to stick. I don't know why, but they are. So make a conscious effort to, I don't know what that is. It's a foreign body. Yeah, to get your edges stuck down well. Certainly with collage, if you have any over gluing and it spills out, it's very easy to rub away. So I'd rather put too much on in this instance. There we go. And just offer it up. That looks pretty good to me. Yes, I like it. Okay, there we go. We have page number 1 done. I'm not going to do the reverse of them at the moment. We'll do all those at the end in one fell swoop when we've got all those things out. I want to get the fabric collages done first, and then we'll come back to the pockets and the, you know, the sort of journaling part of it. Doesn't that look pretty? Lovely. So thank you very much for joining me. Join me tomorrow when we will be doing this page, and I can't remember which colour it is. I think it's red and cream actually. So yeah, we'll move on to the red and cream part of this tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye.